Atrazine and paraquat are two chemicals. There are no gay genes. Doesn't exist. And even recently, I believe last year or year before, a year and a half ago, another scientific study came out and determined there is no gay gene, obviously. Those two chemicals, atrazine and paraquat, are heavily in the water in California and a few other states. Atrazine is heavily in the medical marijuana that the government legalized for you to smoke. Anybody who trusts this government with their food or anything you put in your body, please take a second, go back, and remember exactly what this government does.
Ooh-wee, let's get heavy on the yard. Let's get heavy. Controversy. But is it really though, when it's rooted in facts? You know what I'm talking about, brother Rizza Islam. I just happened to be scrolling through Instagram and saw that he was on live, and you know, he always never disappoints with the jewels that he drops. So let's check out this clip. Well, it's actually more than a few clips I put in there and put together of what he was dropping in his message. Yes, this, you know what this is. Hard on the Yard TV from a G's perspective. Let's get into this.
Atrazine and paraquat are two chemicals. There are no gay genes. Doesn't exist. And even recently, I believe last year or year before, a year and a half ago, another scientific study came out and determined there is no gay gene, obviously. Those two chemicals, atrazine and paraquat, are heavily in the water in California and a few other states.
Let's see what Big Brother Google has to say about this. Whoa, weed killer makes male frogs lay eggs. Oh, wow. Atrazine, widely used pesticide, wreaking havoc on the sex life of male frogs, emasculating 3/4 of them and turning 1 out of 10 into female. Oh wow, damn. UC Berkeley study, huh? That's one of the top schools in the country, folks. Right up there with Harvard, MIT, and Stanford. Hey Siri. What does paraquat mean?
Paraquat means a toxic fast-acting herbicide, which becomes deactivated in the soil.
Dimethylbipyridinium dichloride. I hope I said that right. Methyl-viologen. See, I don't even like the first 4 letters of that. Meth. Ill for alcohol. Violence. Genes, genetics. Violence to your genes and your genetics. Yeah, I'm stretching it a little bit, but you get the picture. This don't sound good at all. Not at all. And it's in the water? Oh, they tripping. Wonder if they found any in the Flint water. No, it's just as messed up though. I'm wondering, who makes this stuff? Syngenta. Okay, let's look at their website. Syngenta is a leading science-based ag tech company. We help millions of farmers around the world to grow safe and nutritious food while taking care of the planet. Because we all have to eat. Really though, what are we eating is the question. Or what's in what we're eating is the question. Now that we got some reference points for the buzzwords he gave us, let's get back into Brother Islam's lecture.
Atrazine is heavily in the medical marijuana that the government legalized for you to smoke. Anybody who trusts this government with their food or anything you put in your body, please take a second, go back, and remember exactly what this government does. Atrazine is a chemical that Tyrone Hayes was studying for over 20 years, still studying right now. Atrazine is a chemical that he was studying in the water in California. He is up in California. I will be meeting with him in a few weeks. In that chemical, he noticed in the frogs, it was effeminizing the frogs who were male, and it was physically changing the reproductive organs of frogs from male to female. It was shrinking the testicles of the frog, and it was shrinking the phallus or the penis of the male frog, and it was dissolving until it became a vagina. Y'all are thinking I'm crazy, and this is real life science. Type in Tyrone Hayes. Tyrone Hayes.
On a spring night, people gather at a creative space. But they aren't here for wine and sculpture. They're here to hear about frogs.
I'm going to tell you a story tonight I call From Silent Spring to Silent Night, A Tale of Toads and Men.
Few biologists have a story like Tyrone Hayes.
The largest chemical company in the world, Novartis, asked us to test their #1 selling product, astrazine. I never heard of it.
That was 1997, and Dr. Hayes quickly began learning about the world's best-selling pesticide. Using African clawed frogs in his research, he came to a controversial conclusion.
We found that atrazine had demasculinizing effects on exposed males, so the voice box of the larynx didn't grow properly, testosterone levels were really low. We eventually found out that sperm production was really low. We also found out that the exposed males could be feminized. They would grow ovaries or grow eggs.
It's easy to see why people come to listen to Hayes. He's engaging.
Ooh, I know what I'm not drinking tonight.
And funny. But he has one simple way of making the connection between his audience and his frogs.
So as they tell you what atrazine does to this frog's hormones, you should be thinking about what it does to me, to humans.
Atrazine is now the second most widely used pesticide in the U.S. And the EPA has recently drafted a report citing atrazine as a chronic risk, not just for frogs, but mammals, birds, and other wildlife, even when used according to labels. Chemical companies and agriculture associations refute the research, citing the chemical's role in increasing agricultural output and previous studies finding that atrazine is safe.
I see he got his own style, his own flair about himself. But scientist with the name of Tyrone, what you expect? We don't judge the covers of books over here. Now put your seatbelts on, because here comes the feather ruffler part right here.
A lot of people who are saying they were born gay, it's not that they were born gay. It's that the government, through chemistry, has made them able to become born in a way where they feel like they are gay because of their chemistry being manipulated. Very specific. You not born gay, brother. But there is a higher likelihood outside of you being conditioned because you were probably raised around a lot of women, or because you were molested or raped by a man, or because you had a lot of propaganda on cartoons and films, and that's all you saw was a bunch of female stuff, and so you started to adopt female tendencies because a child adopts what he or she is around in their environment, or because of the high level of soy and estrogen in your baby formula, because there is a high level of estrogen, artificial estrogen, in a lot of the baby formulas, because of the other chemicals that you have in your foods, and because of the high level of soy in a lot of the foods that you give your babies. And soy has a high level of estrogen-like properties, and that estrogen in a male child leans him to an effeminate posture, or because of the water, and inside of the water having a high level of atrazine in it that effeminizes males and knocks off our testosterone levels to where nowadays the average man walking around in America has less than 50% of the testosterone that we had over 30 years ago. And if you have less testosterone, then you have less masculinity, less male tendency, and you lean to more of an effeminate female tendency. This is chemistry I'm talking about, and this is how they are going to war with us in a chemical manner. Atrazine and Paraquat. Someone said they've stopped soy in prisons. I don't know what prison you're talking about, but those burritos that they are giving out to the men in prison almost every day, most of them contain a high level of soy protein isolate.
Cause why the f my daughter just bring home a county jail burrito from school though? I'm confused. It's safe for institutional use only on the shit.
That with the small cartons of the concentrated old orange juice and the concentrated chocolate milks, which is a gut-busting combination, creating high levels of gas and attacking the testosterone levels and attacking the reproductive system, leaning a man eventually to a point to where he will no longer be able to have any children. soy is still heavily in prisons. Soy is still heavily in most of the baked goods, the cookies, the pies, the cakes. Soy is still in a whole lot of the cereals. Soy is still in a whole lot of the things you eat. Soy, and atrazine in a large percentage of the water, especially in where I'm from. So when people say they're born gay, I'm not validating their point. I'm validating the reality that this government is making it to be a circumstance where a man can be effeminized chemically and castrated chemically so that he comes out feeling like he is something that he is not by nature. What I just gave y'all is a lot of information about a negative thing, but at the same time, somebody said I thought soy milk was healthy. My bad, hold on, sorry, I keep forgetting. All right, hold on. Get off the soy, I'm gonna just say that. Dr. Wesley goes over this in something called the pot plot when it comes to the marijuana, how they put that in the marijuana. Before he did that, about 4 years prior to him doing that, I attended a meeting over in Hollywood where they were going over information dealing with the chemicals being added into certain drugs and how they were going to push to legalize marijuana after they got chemicals to be licensed to be placed inside of the marijuana. I was at a meeting, boy, I'm telling y'all, all right, man, listen. I was at a meeting, and the man's name, who I cannot mention, sad to say, Caucasian male, he's an advisor on drug policy to Congress. He's one of the advisors when it comes to drug policy in America to Congress. Got a picture with him and everything. But because of security for him, he asked that I don't post it. This man did a PowerPoint presentation. There were less than 90 people in the room because everyone who was invited were specifically chosen. I'm thankful that I was invited. When I was in there, the PowerPoint presentation he did was dealing with marijuana. Its soon legalization, the chemicals that they were pushing inside of it, the propaganda machine that's behind it, the funders, the sponsors, the initial investors, from Tommy Hilfiger all the way to Mr. not Bill Gates, but the Hungarian so-called philanthropist who sponsored heavily Prop 64. He went over how they were going to put it in edible candies for children, not the edible candies that they were already doing for adults. Edible candies for children, gummy bears for children, sodas for children. This was years before all this stuff started coming out. I was privy to this knowledge back then. I did a YouTube video where I broke it down. I think if you type in Rizza Islam marijuana, I went down this whole thing. I went through all the notes that I took in that meeting on YouTube. Years later, Prop 64 comes out, legalizing the chemicalized medical marijuana. Now, let me ask you this question really quick. How in the hell did the 1994 crime bill with Mr. Joe Biden and Mr. Bill Clinton, how did the 1994 crime bill, along with other bills, lock up black men at a disproportionate rate than Caucasian men for possessing the same amount of cocaine, crack, weed, and all those other things? But now the same people who are locked up for this weed, you're not going to release. But the same thing that these men were locked up for, the weed, you're going to let people invest in now. And the same way that you lock these men up for, you got people investing in on the full market, then making money from it and establishing whole businesses. Now, I got a problem with that. I have a problem and an issue with that. That's very interesting to me. That's very interesting to me. So, okay, that's one major point that I just thought about that, but fine. The medical marijuana heavily has atrazine sprayed in it. They legalize this plant for you, and then they put the medical marijuana dispensaries in all of our inner city neighborhoods, and you think that's to help you? When they locked up our fathers and grandparents, well, some of us aren't even grandparents, our fathers, uncles, brothers, and all that for the same exact thing? That don't make sense to me. But what would they legalize it for? One, they know you're going to get in on it. Two, they know they're going to make the majority of money on it. Three, they know that if we give them this weed because they want it so much, give it to them, but let's give it to them with our cut on it. So they put their own little thing on it. It's like that dip of Sherm. It's like that angel dust you sprinkle. You thinking you smoking something that's just pure ganja, Indian hemp plant, good old indica, sativa, whatever. You think it's the good, healthy, original, non-GMO. No, you are smoking chemicalized, psychotic-inducing, GMO mutant marijuana. The same marijuana that has a lot of brothers and sisters out here having psychotic breaks. They're going crazy mentally, going nuts, and not coming back from it. The same way a person goes on a trip from LSD. You have people going crazy. A lot of you don't deal with them because most of you probably don't work in the rehabs that I've worked in. Most of you probably don't work in the drug education clinics and the places where they have these people as inpatient people, and they're trying to figure out what happened. Like, I just smoked some weed and that's it. I haven't been thinking the same. And people are like, weed didn't just do this to you. I don't give a damn if you disagree. I'm talking about facts. Take the medical marijuana. Again, for those of you who smoke, get off of your damn smoking high horse. Some of you really sicken me with this nonsense. Get off your smoking high horse. Come to reality for a second. Go and get the medical marijuana that is being given to you by your master and bring it to a laboratory and test it so you can see what I have seen and what all of the other chemists have been seeing. What is in what you are getting from the government? The government has no organic, non-GMO marijuana. That is not what they send out. Get over your damn Stockholm syndrome. Stop it. People who have experienced what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And by the way, this ain't no social media stuff I'm talking about. This is real life stuff I'm talking about. So again, don't mix Brother Rizza Islam up with anybody who's on social media. I'm telling you the facts. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because my mother, including 2 and 3 and 4 of her colleagues, including some of the other people who I work with, have had to work for months and years getting people off of these in their own rehabs. People who came in from psychotic breaks saying that all they did was smoke the medical marijuana that came from the dispensary and then messed them up. You want to defend weed so bad, you don't realize all weed ain't the same. That's number one. And number two, the weed you're getting from your damn medical marijuana dispensary, Sky Daddy government is not helping you. Please stop. Why would this government give you something that's going to help you with your health when they make the very money off of you not being healthy? Stop it. And the point of me going into that is because atrazine is a heavily present chemical inside of the medical marijuana. So I didn't mean to turn up that much, but when I deal in real life things and not social media stuff, I'm telling you, you might want to go out here and get with the people and see what I'm talking about. Because the sad part is, the chemicals are getting worse, and it's our generation that's getting caught up in it. So then when you wait for the next generation to see who's going to be the builders, who are going to be building the buildings, who is going to handle the technology, who is going to handle the agriculture and farming and making food, and the scientists, who are we all just going to be smoking and be effeminized by the chemicals inside of the government medical marijuana? Is this where we're going? A generation of people who only rely on this system. I don't know if you understand this, but we can't complain about this government if we refuse to separate from it. We can't complain about this enemy if we refuse to separate from it. I don't think we understand where this is going, but they do not intend for us to live for a long time separate from them. that's not what the intention is. I hope you understand this.
Yeah, we understand and overstand the powers that be and their plays in motion. If you don't, then you've been taking too much of that potion.
The points he done brought up has me to thinking about the discussions people have been having as far as this generation's women being more masculine and the men being more effeminate. Could that be due to chemicals put in food, water, or the fact that we have more single-parent households raising our children? More of our men in prison, or all of the above? My guess is the latter.
I can't tell you how to think, but I can tell you to do your own research so you can peer down at the whole chessboard and see it from an intellectual perch, an informed perspective, a G's perspective, if you will. You know what time it is. Your boy Reem for Hot on the Yard TV. Make sure y'all hit the like and subscribe on the way out. Leave a comment if you got something to say about this. We love intellectual discourse around here. Shout out to the brother Rizza Islam, always sharing beautiful knowledge that he comes across. We need to protect this brother at all costs, for real, because it's a war out here. If you don't know, now you know, nigga.